Hello, 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 everyone.
Good evening.
Hello.
We are here. We are here. We are here. You all need to thank the good Lord above that we are here.
Amen. Yes, we do.
Today has been a very, well, it's been a very interesting week already.
Yes.
It's
Um,
only, I didn't even realize it's only Tuesday.
right,
Lord, give us strength.
right. Look, right. So, we're not gonna hem and haw because this conversation is one that is needed and very necessary for those of you that are coming on. I'm going to ask that you all would go ahead and like and share. Going to start out by telling everyone that if you want to watch on YouTube, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel at bit.ly/TTCL channel, or you can turn around and follow us on our what become our friends on Facebook on the
Facebook.
Key and D page.
Yeah, on the candy page.
Yeah, on the Key and D page. Because we try to keep our personal pages for our closest friends and family, even though we may have some public posts every now and then.
Mhm.
So you're welcome to chat it up with us on our personal page, personal business page. Follow us on IG at Key and D Life, and just follow the show, this thing called Life. You'll get all of our notifications about everything that's going on. It's bit.ly/Key and D Life. And yes, it's KEEAND
DEE.
Life. So it's like, yeah, so feel free to definitely, follow us on social media, hit us up, if something's going on. If you know of a topic that you feel would be good for us to visit, let us know.
Definitely let us know.
Let us know. Great evening, great evening. Well, look, I love Annette. She is such an awesome supporter. Um, and we appreciate that. And thank you for sharing. So we're gonna just go ahead and for those of you that don't that may have seen the actual posts that were being put out, our topic is basically self-explanatory.
Mm.
And it is corporate America,
Corporate America.
a Black woman's trauma.
Mm.
Now, I'm gonna sit here and just kind of let that let that resonate and let that soak in a little bit, because people like, oh, working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. But there's so much more to it when you are not only woman, but you are a Black woman.
Black woman. And can I add, when you're a Black woman, when you are a person, that's normally only the Black person or a Black woman in the room.
That part.
See,
Okay.
you read that article. You read it because it hits that.
Well, I'm just speaking
Oh,
of
you've
my
been the only.
experience.
I know you've been the only.
I definitely.
I've been the only.
I'm always the only. My field is wealth management. It's a predominantly white male industry. So I'm always the only, normally the only Black person, but definitely always the only Black woman in the room.
And I can believe that.
Yeah.
I can so totally, totally, totally and completely believe that.
Yeah.
Roz, you were, talking about being the only and being the only in a mostly white male dominated profession.
Yes.
just give us just a quick overview of how that affects you as a Black woman, just to be blunt with it.
Um, I would say, so I've been in my industry, I think about 15 or 16 years. I've held various roles with some of the top wealth management firms of the nation. Um, I've been in leadership. Most recently, I was in leadership and I actually stepped away from leadership. Um, it's hard, okay? It's difficult. It's traumatizing.
Mm.
It's a constant emotional and mental battle because the smile that I have now, everyone that knows me knows that I'm normally smiling anyway, but there's a difference between genuinely smiling and having to smile in conversations,
Absolutely.
especially in difficult conversations. Um, and that's very necessary in certain roles within corporate America as a Black woman, because without that smile, um, without the delicacy in your conversation, you're immediately painted as the angry Black woman. No matter what you do, what you say, if you say it the wrong, or how you say it, it's very easy to have the stigma placed on your back, the scarlet letter, that you're the angry Black woman. There was a time with a previous employer, and I'll never forget it. I was in a team meeting, the only Black woman in the room, and I voiced an opinion, a suggestion of process improvement. And literally, no one heard me. I know they heard me because no one in the room was hearing impaired. No one wore a hearing aid. No one was deaf. My suggestion was just, it's like I didn't say anything. Go around the table about 10 minutes later, a white male colleague made the same suggestion and was celebrated. And in this moment, this was one of my rare moments in which I was unable to maintain my professionalism. I was just completely appalled.
And rightly so.
Rightly so. And this happened after I attended a TED what are they called? TEDx?
TED Talks.
Mm-hmm.
TED Talk, TED Talk. Right after I attended a TED Talk, and I was able to witness a Salesforce director. Her name is Molly Ford. She's absolutely amazing. She talked about Black women bringing their chair to the table, and it was empowering, but she also talked about the situation in which I experienced. I have a suggestion. No one heard me. No one acknowledged it. But a white male colleague made the same suggestion and was immediately celebrated. And this is probably the only time my colleagues could have said that they heard me use profanity, because I was like, fuck no. That's exactly what I said. Absolutely not. I just said the same thing. You will not. So that's part of it too. Not only do we have to keep faith, you have to keep your face on all day. You have to smile. I'm so good at this all day, no matter what, how I feel. You have to deal with being the invisible person in the room.
Mm-hmm.
The person with yet the most color in the room, okay?
But you have to remain clear.
But you have to remain clear. You're expected. I'll take that back. No, you don't have to. You are expected to remain clear, and in most cases, you are treated as though you are.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Right. Now,
Yep.
the funny part about what you said while you were talking, I went back to a certain vice presidential candidate
Reading my mind.
debate where that side eye and
Mm-hmm.
that smirk remained on the face of a particular candidate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And those of us who know and understand our body language
Mm-hmm.
understood that if I don't sit here and grit my teeth and smile through my teeth, the words that are coming out of my mouth will paint every Black woman in the world
Yeah.
as petty, as messy, as
Yep.
angry, even though I was being spoken to in a very demeaning and condescending tone.
Disrespectful. Absolutely.
And yes, she was like, yeah, that, and she called it all day, every day. Yes, ma'am, our
Yeah.
vice president, Ms. Harris.
Yeah. Yeah.
And great afternoon to you, Beatrice. And so it's like while you were talking, it just kind of,
Yeah, because when she was talking, that was what
it
that
was like,
that smile.
I saw.
So when I saw you do the smile, Ross, I was sitting up there and I was thinking about her during that presidential debate. Even when the fly landed on his head, and she was just like,
she just still kept faith until you have to, you know. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. You have to, and it's very unfortunate. It needs to change. I will say though, within my industry, you know, historically, and I said I was going to stop referring to it as a predominantly white male industry because historically that's what the wealth management industry, the investment industry has been. But Black people, we're stepping up.
yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
We're
And
stepping up
strong,
and
strong,
strong.
very strong. Now,
Yes.
I want to, and we kind of hit at it a little bit before we came on the air, but everyone that's anyone knows uh, about our sister Cheryl Underwood's
You're
Karen
Underwood.
situation
Mm-hmm.
and her former co-host
Mm-hmm.
having her voice heard and trying to paint our dear sister in a negative light by releasing these text messages
Messages.
that
Mm-hmm.
sent and all and she hasn't gotten a response and people are asking Cheryl, have you talked to her? And she's like, no. And now that they are back on the air, she actually addressed it and
Mm-hmm.
to let it be known that yes, she received the messages, but because of the internal investigation that was going on at the time. And we were teasing because, your field, saying that it's just like when you talk to a creditor and, they're trying to, a collection agency, and you try to get them off and then you turn around and you verify
Yeah,
information.
they say, is this Rozlyn Paige? As soon as you say yes, it is, you just
Right.
reopen that can of
You
worms.
messed
So you
up.
just better hang
Right.
up the phone.
So it's like you starting everything over, all over again. So
Mm-hmm.
wisdom in remaining silent. And in the article that I was reading, where she was talking, and I'm gonna read the article. It's from the Insider. I will post it
Mm-hmm.
on the thread so everyone can read it for themselves. But it says, Underwood said that she tried to stay calm during the on-air argument and did not want to escalate things because she believed she was at quote having a conversation with a friend, end quote. But Underwood continued to say that she also felt she had to remain calm in order to not be stereotyped as the angry black woman.
Yeah.
And then she further went on to say that really scared me. I didn't want to be that. I wanted to remain calm and focused. I just feel the trauma. I feel fearful and apprehensive. It is difficult to go back to that day because I feel the trauma. That really scared me. Now, those, we're Black women. So we understand innately, automatically, what she's saying.
Mhm.
And it's one of those deals where, like I was just talking about our vice president. If I don't sit here and chew the side of my mouth, or bite my tongue, or just keep that resting bitch face, which is, what everyone refers to it as. If I don't just keep that face, the things that will come, especially when you call yourself trying to educate me. Now, we as Black women, we tend to be some of the most loving, acceptable, forgiving, nurturing people that you will ever find. But you come at us wrong, we're going to snatch your soul.
I'm going to verbally annihilate you.
I had to catch it with this right here.
I am known, okay? I have several strengths. One of them are I will snatch your guts out verbally with a smile.
With a smile.
Yeah.
With a smile.
Yep.
I do it today. I did it today. Because I don't know if you saw my post. My post said, those are the days when, want to and cares given don't come to the office with you. And someone who had been present during the time of my interview for the position that I'm in now says to me, he was being funny, I guess. I'm not real sure. And he made the comment, he goes, ain't it about time for you to take them braids out? Didn't you have your hair like that when you came for the interview?
He said what?
Anybody who knows me knows my hair is locked. He asked me, wasn't it about time for me to take these braids out?
At work.
At work.
Hey, Elder Kevin McGee, how you doing?
At work. Now, mind you, I got some stuff going on. I'm not feeling the best, but I sure did turn around and I looked at him and I smiled. I smiled because this show was playing in my head. Just this whole conversation was playing in my head. But I smiled and I turned to him and I said, and now he said it intentionally in front of a group of folks that looked primarily like him. Because the field that I'm in, again,
my temples just started throbbing.
And I was like, well,
oh my goodness.
And I said his name. To be perfectly honest with you, since you decided that you want to, try to be somewhat educated, let me further educate you on a Black woman's hair. Not that you have any, but these are locks. This is a permanent hairstyle. This is something that I have chosen, for whatever my personal reasons may be. Before you decide, I did say a few other words. I did say a few choice words, but I let him know before you decide to make commentary on things, you might need to educate yourself just a little bit more.
I'm appalled. So I can say that I've never experienced something as direct, I haven't. I don't know what I would have said in that situation.
Yeah, I had to apply many filters. Excuse me, and I was having conversations with D in my head. Because again, like I said, I'm not feeling the greatest at the moment. So to I've been in the office, I think it's at 6:30 both days, yesterday and today, because we have an upcoming audit tomorrow. So to be going through and putting forth this extra effort to have this audit coming tomorrow, and then for you to come into my house, because you coming into my office, you from another office, but you coming into my office, into my house. Ain't it about time for you to change your braids? So when we talk about not being the angry Black woman, I had to apply a whole lot of filters. And I had to do it, one, because there again, we were at work.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only one there, and I am the only one in this city that works for this company that looks like me. So that being said, yeah, I had to, for real, put some filters in place. But at the same time, I let it be known you don't want to come for me.
And
don't come for me.
And it said this happened today.
This happened today.
There is an article on LinkedIn that I recently shared. It's probably been about a month or something, regarding Black women's hair in corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like many other things that we experience as Black people as a whole, when I read the article, my first thought was, why does this have to be a topic of discussion? Why does this have to be an article? But I thought back to situations in my in my earlier career where I had changed my hairstyle to match those of my colleagues. I thought back to times when I was younger where I didn't get the braids because I wanted to match those I didn't want my colleagues to feel uncomfortable. I maybe didn't dye my hair the dark red that I wanted to in the fall because I worried, was it acceptable, me being client facing in my industry?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you this one time, I will never filter myself again.
Nope.
I will never even consider anybody else's thoughts about my physical appearance.
That part.
Because y'all need me. I choose to be here. And if I wasn't here, I can go run my own company, start it up, and have it running profitably within a couple of months.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've done it before.
Absolutely. But I think when I got to be about 45 is when it really just kind of hit for me. And I was just like, maybe a little bit before, because I've had them for almost 3 years now. Mm-hmm. I made the conscious decision that I was just like, you know what? This is who I am. And I have a lot to offer as a person.
As a person.
My hair journey ain't your business. No. My hair journey ain't going to affect your business. Mm-hmm. So when, like right now, like again, full locks, and these jokers is purple. Play with me if you want to. Mm-hmm. And but it was just one of those things of, do you really want to go there with me? So because this gentleman is going to be, and this is just because I get to be a Black woman, and so I get to express myself however I so choose, and I'm going to do it with a smile. But I'm going to walk up in there in my company shirt tomorrow with my African print skirt and my head wrap on, face fully beat, and be there when he gets there to say good morning.
So I'm not familiar with your company. However, I commit, like, absolutely, I would do the same thing. But I would go as far, and this is just where I am in my career. I'm not playing with nobody.
Nah.
I would also have a reference number from Human Resources.
Oh, they'll be there tomorrow. They'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
They were coming tomorrow anyway. So the point of the thing of you having the conversation with me at the time that you did. But unfortunately, because we were also like just kind of touring the facility at that particular time, and it was an internal tour, and because there were others who could not be there, it was recorded. So when HR, who does look like me, comes in from wherever she comes in tomorrow, her and her director look like me. I'm going to play the recording for them. Right there tomorrow on the spot.
It's time that we remain consistent in voicing these situations.
It'll be all right. I see you over here. Look, I can feel your energy. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Because no matter how I feel, I'm going to always show up. And they're going to be there tomorrow, so they'll see it. But you also know I'm going to go in full regalia tomorrow.
Nubian style.
Okay.
I love it. Yes. I keep that. I love that. I need one.
I love this shirt.
How appropriate.
Yes.
What's up, sissy?
Okay.
Yeah. Woosah.
For real throbbing.
Yeah.
My temples are, and I had to shut it down.
Yeah.
It's
okay though.
Yeah.
It's okay though.
Yeah.
Can you?
It's okay.
Ooh, Annette, look, she said, can you take us to work with you tomorrow? I want to see his face.
Girl, listen.
Oh my God. Okay.
The audacity.
Now, I put the article from our dear sister on the thread.
The live.
And I want to a lot of what we're discussing is in an article that I would love to share. And then that way we can kind of, because you just already, we've hit so much of what's in the article. So a lot of we'll be able to graze past, but there are some pieces of that puzzle that that I definitely want to share with the world. And this is actually an article that is talking about, as we see the topic, the state of Black women in corporate America. And I'll put the link in. It does have a PDF format, but I'm just going to go through and we'll just hit on some of the
subtopics.
Highlights. Yeah. Section 1, what our Black women are up against. You already hit. Black women are significantly underrepresented in leadership roles.
Can I talk about that just for a moment? I know that's since I hit it, because this is near, and this section is near and dear to my heart, because I struggled before I took my last role, the leadership role. Remember, us three went out to the little restaurant by my house, and we was celebrating, and we was all excited. I had made it VP level.
I remember.
I tried.
Did you?
You know what I mean? Yeah. I tried, and I should have walked away at week 2. Okay?
Wow.
I should have walked away during week 2. But because I had shared with my sisters and my family, and you all were so excited, and I felt like I represented us. You know, Black women are like the article states, underrepresented in leadership roles. Here I am in a leadership role of this company, but I'm losing my mind dealing with the workload, the unrealistic expectations, the lack of training, being set up for failure, on top of having to keep my face on as a Black woman. So I should have walked away week 2, but I didn't. I stayed around, and I tried to remain optimistic and tried to foster change by speaking up,
I can see the turmoil in your face right now while you're
Yes,
speaking.
yes, because it was absolutely insane. So long story short, I finally decided to choose me, because it got to the point where it's like either I'm gonna, keep this role or I'm gonna have a heart attack and die, like literally.
And we don't want that.
We didn't want that. So I finally decided to walk away, took a 50% pay cut, went from 6 figures to not. And to sum it up, my mother said to me last week, she called me with one topic of her conversation, that she's happy to see that I'm not stressed. Absolutely. And that I am finally working for a company in which I am happy.
Peace is everything.
So we are unrepresented in leadership roles. However, once we get there, it's not easy. And I'm a strong person. I've been through a lot. I can carry weight on my shoulders. Mm-hmm. That leadership role was going to kill me. There was no doubt about it.
That is amazing to hear you say. I'm in my current position. I am a manager. I am literally on call 24/7. If at any point there is an emergency situation, yep, I have 30 minutes to show my face. Yeah. I could be in the middle of a family dinner. Yeah. I could be sleep, which is something I don't get a lot of.
You have at 2:30 and 3 o'clock.
Right. I've had to, get up and, not wanting to disturb the family. And so, by the time they knew it, I was back, or I would see D a message. So now I'm disturbing her because I'm like, I gotta go. Mm-hmm. Because we had an emergency deployment. So I gotta go. Mm-hmm. The alarm is going off at the building and nobody can figure out what's going on. I gotta go. So when you talk about, I ain't in the 6-figure bracket, but when you start talking about the stress of it, now mind you, I love my job. I think my job, it was like somebody took my resume
and created
it for you.
All of the different things I have done throughout the course of, my professional journey, and they wrote this job description. And it's amazing. I love my job. I love what I do.
That's how I feel about my current role, my new role. I'm just happy.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Annette, she said the pressure was taken off you. Thank God.
Absolutely.
And then followed up by saying that's good because titles and money
are no. And I can't say that it was not an easy decision. I went back and forth. I mean, come on.
You talking about your livelihood, your money.
Yeah.
When I say literally cut my salary in half, I'm not joking. I literally cut my salary in half. That's way out of my comfort zone. But I had to really put it into perspective. I can't take this money with me if I'm dead in a grave from stress.
And you have an amazing little one that she just brought.
I know, right? So, God is good though, because it's turning around. Actually, it's been a month, and I'm getting ready to go back in leadership in the new company that's on the horizon.
See?
And it's just like, your sanity is worth so much more than any title. I don't care about the title. People would be like, "Oh, you're a vice president." That mean I can sign big checks and send off big wire transfers. That's risk. You being a vice president means nothing in a financial industry. It just means that you can take on a whole lot of risk that others may not be able to.
Liability.
Liability, right? That title, that's all that means. And so a title and money is not worth your sanity, your health, your mental, emotional state of mind, and it comes down to your physical being as well. So
now,
yeah.
This is one of the things, whenever we see these green blocks, is coming from 50 Ways to Fight Bias. That is the source of that.
Okay.
But I'm going to put this link into the thread as well. But it says Black women's successes are often discounted. It says when a Black woman succeeds, people often attribute her accomplishments to factors outside her control, such as affirmative action, help from others, or random chance. For example, colleagues might say things like, "She only got the promotion because she's Black," or "She was lucky to close that sale." And this reinforces a damaging stereotype that portrays Black women as less talented and competent than their peers. When these comments go unchallenged,
won't do it.
They can't prevent Black women from receiving the credit they deserve for their hard work and their achievements. You just talked about that. Just talked about it. You just talked about being, receiving less support from management by, giving their suggestions. Okay, here it is, right here in writing, from an analyst from 2 years at a particular company. "I would like a manager who respects and values my opinions, especially in my realm of expertise. I'd love to be asked, what are your thoughts? Or, we're having this meeting, can I pull you in on it?" But it doesn't happen.
I got a story about that too. This is sad. I like, you're going through this article, and I have a personal experience for so far everything that's like, it's sad.
Yeah, and here it is. You're talking about, at a meeting with a COO, a young woman asked him, "How did you get where you're at?" He said, "It's all who you know." And we already know what that means. The next section talks about Black women face more day-to-day discrimination at work.
You're gonna feel it tomorrow.
Subtle and non-subtle.
Right. Look, we're talking about microaggressions.
You just said subtle and non-subtle, yeah.
See, I didn't even read the article. I didn't have time, but.
No, that's fine. But it's like, I'm going to put the link into the actual, you know what, let me do that right now. So therefore, if those people who may want to pull it up and follow along with us, you are actually able to do so. But it's talking about the it's talking about the microaggressions, that we deal with. And, we've done whole shows, about that. We're talking about the angry Black woman. It's like, we're not angry. It's kind of like the Hulk. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
You don't want to see me angry. I try not to show anyone my anger. That's somebody that I buried.
Yeah, right.
We don't want, like, I'm not angry.
Right. But and I tell people all the time, I put Misha up on the altar. Let her stay there.
For me, it's Roz. That's why I'm Rozlyn now. People may wonder, because my legal name is Roz. And it wasn't until like 5 years ago that I started going by Rozlyn. It's a reason. Roz is gone, because y'all don't want to meet Roz.
Right.
Y'all don't want to meet Roz.
Right. And it's like, we talked about being the only, we
Yeah.
discussed that. I feel like, and we talked about the pressure of having to represent the entire race.
You just said that.
Yeah.
So like I said, this article, I feel the expectations are higher that, as a Black woman than those of the white, and there's a young lady that I used to work with who worked in sales. And when I tell you, she was a natural born salesperson. She could turn around and sell Black skin to a Black woman. That's just how phenomenal of a salesperson that she was. And, and when she would come in and her numbers would just be off the friggin' charts, people had, different little comments, like in the previous article, different little things to say. But it was like, because she was so good at what she did, it was expected to be like that all the time, even when she wasn't feeling well, even when she was dealing with personal family issues. In the position that I held, I was aware of a lot of things that other people in the company weren't aware of because of my position, with management. So a lot of things that I was oftentimes aware of. And so people would, and I guess because of my position, how it is, people try to chum up to you and
information.
yeah, and I'm like, and it's a young lady that from Mississippi, and I got this statement from her phrase from her. I may be dark, but I'm not dumb.
That's when I started smelling like this again.
So it's one of those deals where, I see what you're doing, because if it weren't for the position that I hold, you wouldn't give a ham sandwich about me. You wouldn't speak to me.
Exactly.
You would act like I don't even exist.
That's me. Tell my story.
So it's like, don't buddy pal friend me. I don't need any more friends. I have plenty. Thank you. I appreciate it though. And okay, we're talking about being ambitious in spite of the obstacles. It's almost like they feel like we're afraid to step out from under, their umbrella. Like we are afraid to do for ourselves, and like it says, Black women are unfairly penalized for being ambitious. Said because we expect women to be kind and communal. Women are often criticized for as overly ambitious or out for themselves when they express a desire to lead. For Black women, this ambition penalty can be compounded in some contexts by stereotypes that unfairly portray Black women as aggressive and angry. Now, you don't see the good old boys being accused of any of this when they want to go forward in their careers, on their chosen career path. We don't hear, okay, so he's just, whatever. It's called, he's really working hard so that he can, be successful in life. Okay, so what's the difference?
He don't look like us.
Right. Now, what can be done? What are some of the solutions that some of these companies can do to support Black women? They need to focus on the unique barriers. They talk about, and I like how this particular article put it, because in most companies, they deal with things based on either gender or race. Never really focusing on, there are instances where we are dealing with individuals that are dealing with both. And we're not even going to go into sexual orientation or religion or, any of that.
Or disability. I talked about this recently. As a Black woman, there's the mental stress, which is technically it's a bona fide disability. And when you think about diversity and inclusion, most people automatically think about gender or race. However, diversity and inclusion includes disability as well.
Correct.
So it's a third.
Correct.
It's the trifecta of the package for the Black woman, because we're dealing with all the emotional trauma, which is a disability, and you have the race and the gender. A lot, people don't talk about that.
Right. And it's unfortunate, but it is a fact.
It is a fact. Yep.
It's unfortunate, but it is a fact. It's like they're talking about I was in a situation where, and it's so funny because we did an experiment within one of the companies that I worked for. And I think it actually hits it in this article or a couple of other articles that I've read, where it discusses how you take a person's exact resume.
Yeah.
And you change out
the
name.
Yep.
To make it not sound, to generalize it basically.
Yep.
And it was amazing. And we did this with management. It was amazing, the people that took those resumes, one of which was mine, my personal resume. And they were like, oh, yeah, this person right here, and I'm just going to use a general name. Oh, yeah, Becky would be awesome. She would just be like the best thing. I would love to work with her because she's so efficient. She has this experience. She has that experience. She has, just listing off. But then when it was revealed that it was my personal resume, some of those same people who were acting all like, yeah, this is who I would want, were like, oh, wow, we didn't know you could, we didn't know you had that skill. Oh, well, you're always coming at us with this, that, and the other. I was like, and there is a reason I ask questions the way that I ask them. There is a reason why certain things are done the way that they are done.
Absolutely.
There is a particular reason. It's because of that same level of efficiency that you're talking about you will want from Becky. But because I'm asking for this information, you have an issue with it.
My resume for this particular job, my resume said KS. Like most, just about anything business related when it comes to me says KS. It does not actually say my full first name. It says KS. And so when they did the preliminary interview, they didn't know I was female. They didn't know I was Black. When I actually went in, and so I love the woman who hired me, because I was hired by a woman. But the woman who hired me, when I walked in for my in-person interview, so it was the final interview, and I had, at that point, I had been hired, but they needed, to see, if the dynamic between me and the working manager was going to work. I sat there for 35 minutes and I listened to the conversation, that they were having, because
they didn't know you were KS.
They did not know I was KS. They were ranting and raving about this resume, and then they just decided that whoever, this KS person was, hadn't shown up because nobody was here but this little Black girl. She was probably here for the secretary position or something. But KS hadn't shown up, so we need to call and reschedule. So finally, somebody said, "What position are you here to interview for?" And I said, "The logistics administrator." And they were like, "Oh, well, that position," I said, "I'm KS." The quiet that went across those 4 white men before I was then taken back for an interview. The quiet that those 4 white men. So with the gentleman today that was making the comments about the braids, he was one of those. He was one of those 4 white men. So the quiet that went across those 4 white men when they realized that I done sat there and I done heard everything they said. I done heard them rant and rave about my qualifications, about what I had done in the past, how I was an absolute perfect fit for this position. You know, they done ranted and raved and gone on and on and on and on about this KS person. And how that person was a perfect fit. They got the job. We just need this as a formality. So, especially since you already said they got the job and it's a formality without realizing who was sitting there listening to you, what you gonna do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To be flies on the wall, and you got the chance to live it.
And the thing about it is, I think one of the things that aggravates me so incredibly much, even when we have these calls, when I'm at work, when we have these calls, and when we have these face to face, and we have these processes and interviews and this and that and the other, I think one of the things that tends to aggravate me more than anything else is, as a Black woman, and she talked about it when she talked about that incident in the boardroom, they like to try to make sure to pretend I'm invisible.
Until they need you to do something.
Until they need me to do something. Or until there's an issue. Or until they can't figure out how to get something done. Or they're not real sure how this and this ties together. But because of my previous, work experience in my previous life and my previous OSHA training and my previous this and the other, I'm the one that can connect the dots. That's when I become visible again.
Mm-hmm. I want to piggyback off that for a little bit. You're right. That's when you become visible again. And it's also a reason, that we have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And I say that to say, everyone doesn't have a strong personality. Everyone may not be comfortable with, initiating conversation. But when you're in the situation in which you are sitting at the table, mm-hmm. and you're invisible, mm-mm. I think that molded me to who I am professionally, because I make sure I'm the brightest in the room. I speak to everybody, use their first names, look them directly in their eye. I'm there early, and I always have a question or two, and I'm normally going to ask the question first. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable so that they can know that, no, I'm not invisible. I am more than capable than what you think I am capable of. And I'm here to show you, so when I do see a Black woman in my industry, and I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but I don't know how else to say it. So y'all maybe help me out once I say it.
Straight to the point.
When I come across a Black female colleague and she is very meek and timid, I instantly want to connect with her, mm-hmm. and try to let some of me rub off on her, because I need you to stand up with me.
Absolutely.
I need you to ask questions. I need you to make a presence in everything that we do. It's only 2 or 3 of us, if that. You need to let your presence be known. And that's always my goal. I don't care how I feel. If I'm there and if I'm present in the physical, my goal is always to make sure that they can never make me invisible. You will not diminish my being. And I think the fact that, you know, we are often treated as invisible, that has definitely molded me to the leader that I am today.
Yeah.
Because
you
no matter,
to speak up.
Yep, you have to speak up. You have to connect. You have to network. You have to challenge, you know, with that smile on your face.
That same smile that will cut your effing throat if it needs
Yes.
to. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. Yep. And then, you know, so we're going to talk about real quick, and then I'm going to let Roz turn around and enjoy the rest of her evening. But we're going to talk about a couple of things, you know, some of the things that, you know, because we're always talking about solutions.
Yes.
You know, and that is one of the things that I loved about this particular article. It says take both gender and race into account when setting representation targets. It says, you know, and then, like I said, I put the link in so people can go back and read all the details. It says, look at metrics beyond just representation. Don't just throw a black face up in there to say, okay, we've got a black person here.
We're diverse and we're inclusive.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I'm so sick of it.
You know, share the metrics, you know, and I like this one where it says, you know, give employees visibility into how the company is performing against diversity goals can help everyone understand why proactive efforts to advance Black women are so important. Reward progress. You know, and even though it says on here where it says 1 in 5 companies offer financial incentives for senior leaders who meet diversity targets, it shouldn't take giving you more money for you to turn around and do what you need to do. Now, see, Miss KS over here is rolling on into section 6, addressing bias in hiring and promotion. You know, reduce bias takes commitment. You have to, for real, make an effort. First, you have to, for real, learn what bias is and for real acknowledge the fact that you have it, or your company has it, or all of the above has it. And then 3, you've got to, for real, put forth an effort to say, okay, these are the steps that have to be taken, and take those steps to change it.
And they have to also once they realize that there is a bias within their organization, they need to genuinely understand what the problem is there. I don't want you trying to meet diversity and inclusion goals because that's what every other company is doing.
Right.
I need you to really understand the problem. And if you don't, talk to me. Let's sit down and talk about it. Going back to those 4 that you mentioned where they say how to change it, I'll add a 5th. You need to talk to Black women, and you need to give them a platform in which they are able to comfortably help you understand the problem.
That's it.
Because you aren't sitting in the seat. I'm sitting in the seat.
Right. I was about to say, because I can tell you the problem.
Yeah.
And I can tell you how to fix it. But the question is, are you willing?
Are you willing, and do you understand that there is truly a problem? If not, we're just spinning wheels and just doing what everybody else is doing.
Right. So, and see, that goes into the last part of it, where it talks about 5 concrete ways to reduce bias in hiring and promotions. And you know, require a diverse slate of final candidates for every position. Not just the secretary. Every position. Go in with blinders. That's my thing.
Yep.
Put evaluators through unconscious bias training, kind of like what you were saying, but make them actually acknowledge it.
Aware and acknowledgement.
Right. Use clear, consistent review criteria. Make it make it anonymous.
Yeah. Talked about that. Yeah.
Make it anonymous. And appoint somebody to monitor the situation. And who better than a Black woman?
To create an inclusive workspace.
Yeah. And so they need to know that we are welcomed, respected, and valued. They need to let us know that because, like Roz said, you need me.
Yep.
And that's the bottom line of it. 4 ways to create a more inclusive workspace. Develop those guidelines we talked about. Provide, I don't need you to be my ally. Just get your training, acknowledge the bullcorn, and fix it. This is real nice. It's like provide comprehensive allyship and anti-racism training. No, acknowledge racism. I don't need you to be my ally. I need you to turn around and speak up to your white friends, your white family members. I need you to speak up to them. I don't need you to be my ally. I need you to turn around and be a voice among the white people. Yeah. To say this crap is what it is. It's wrong. You can like it, you cannot, but it is what it is. And govern yourself accordingly.
Next one.
Right. Make the only experience less common for Black women.
We've all been through that. That's
that wait till hell moment right there. Yeah.
Oh, it's another. Listen, let me tell you. I get so happy when I see another sister when we have all these mass meetings and whatever with the company, because my company is a nationwide company, and so Zoom. I don't know what we did before Zoom, but
I have to be like this. I'll be looking at the room like,
yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
There's
like
one.
That, so when I see, a sister, I'm like, hey, how you doing, T? Hey. We got one in Atlanta. She runs the Atlanta shop. I sure do. I talk to her every single time I see her.
That's good.
It don't matter how many folks is online. It could be 72 of us, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna take myself off mute. Hey, T.
Hey.
She's like, hey, Miss Kay, how y'all doing? I'm good. How you doing? Y'all gone about your business now. Y'all gone. Because I'm going to tell you the one thing. I came across this on somebody else's page, and I had to bring it back up on my page because I wanted to make sure that I did not misquote it. And this has been really for the past few years, but especially just kind of forging I worked in construction. I was the only one. I was the only one. Like the male, female, I was the only one. But this phrase, I am no longer shrinking myself to be more digestible. Excuse me. You can choke.
That's you.
That's where I was this morning. So yeah. So when that happened today, when all of that happened today, let me tell you, it was one of those, no, I'm not going to just smile and wave and just, oh, ha, ha. Nah. Figure it out. So if you want to talk about something, make sure you're properly educated on what it is you're speaking about. I'm not minimizing who I am any longer to make somebody else comfortable. I can't do it. I refuse to do it. And none of us should have to.
Facts.
So I'm going to walk up in there, like I said, tomorrow with my purple locks and my African print skirt that you can see a whole mile away. because it's bright pink and they got every color in the rainbow in it. I'm gonna wear it with my head wrap tomorrow, and I'm gonna walk up in there proudly. And I dare someone to be like, to try to dismiss me, because I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not invisible. I refuse to be invisible.
See my black skin, baby.
Not only do I refuse to be invisible, I refuse to be quiet.
Yeah.
In my life.
Yeah.
I refuse to be quiet, because as long as we're quiet, it continues. As long as we're quiet, we are giving them the okay. As long as we're quiet, it's, whether it may be a matter of, okay, well, what you said made me uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough for me to make you uncomfortable. I ain't there no more.
Yep.
I'm not. So see me, you damn sure gonna hear me. Because if I have to get in the middle of this conference table and do a jig for you to hear me, you gonna hear me. Listen, the people that did look, and the people in my building, that they're not really surprised too much by the things that I do anymore. People from other buildings, well, they'll learn. But yeah, no, like I said, I'm not going to diminish who I am. You can check.
Because I'm human. I am human. At the end of the day, what it boils down to is I am a capable human.
Absolutely.
Respect me.
Absolutely.
That's all you have to do. Be kind.
Right. Because if you could do, and that's the thing about it, that is the thing that I had to learn. They don't know how to do what I do. If you, like you said, you need me, because if you could do what I do, you wouldn't need me. At the end of the day.
Yep.
Now, I want us to, and I know this is going to be a really tough thing to actually kind of go out on. But I put this, I took a screenshot, and had actually put that up on my page. It says, recently, a lot of Black men have been shot by the police. This is a huge thing in the Black community. Black Lives Matter. But when I come into work, who do I talk to about that? I don't think I've heard anybody talk about it at work. Nothing. To some degree, you feel like you have to put yourself to one side. And that is clearly not inclusion.
Right.
Inclusion is when your work environment is so safe that you'll feel like you can bring 100% of yourself to work every day. And when I read that, it kind of punched me in my gut for a couple of reasons. And I've got one more piece that I need to put up to accompany that. Because the most recent situation in Minneapolis hit really, really close to home. It didn't hit my direct family, but it hit one of my family members. That young man that was killed is his nephew. And so, and you all know how vocal I am. You all know how you all know me. Mm-hmm. It's no secret. But I have intentionally been silent to a degree because because he can see my page. Mm-hmm. The uncle can, because we're related. But the other piece of that is with everything that they're already dealing with emotionally. I don't want to compound what I say on top of what they're already dealing with. Now it's coming. It's just not going to come until after he's been buried. I'm trying to respect the fact that right now everything is super fresh. And so I'm going to let them do what they need to do as a family to deal with the whole situation. And then I'm going on a rampage. But we're talking about Black women.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I put up an article and I put up a post about the young scholar athlete. And my nerves getting bad because I'm starting to dig in my head.
Yeah.
In Quincy, Illinois, who is one of my cousin's daughters. She was out with some friends and they were minding their business. They weren't loud. They weren't rowdy. They were at their table and they were minding their business. And she was singled out and by a guy that's 3 times her size, physically assaulted, and left unconscious outside, dragged outside the building and left unconscious. And when the cops were called, they didn't even bother to take a report from her. They didn't do anything. They were told what was what. And so that is ongoing. They're in the process of, handling that situation up there in the university, in Quincy. But the university itself had the audacity to not say anything about being fired because it happened off campus. Now she is at that university playing ball for them on a scholarship. And when I say this girl has a list of academic accolades, not just on the basketball court, but we're talking academic accolades from high school to college. But the university that she is putting her blood, sweat, and tears into won't even speak up about the situation. So needless to say, there's some conversations going on with that. And that really kind of put me in a position that, especially with this conversation that we're having, is like, as long as we are entertaining you, as long as we are giving you what you want or feel you need, then you show us attention, not value, but attention. But then when we're dealing with something, now we're still the same person that brings you all of the stuff that you need. But when we need you to stand up, you're effing invisible. That makes me feel some kind of way. And I'm being selective with what I say, because once again, we're talking about family and they can see my page, and I don't want to go in while they're in the middle of doing whatever it is that they're doing. Now, if somebody else goes in, I'm going to share it all day long. But me personally, because I'm directly connected, I'm trying to proceed cautiously.
Mm-hmm.
But it's coming after they handle everything that they need to handle.
Yes, Lord. Kaepernick was a prime example.
But what happened with him, he was still in working mode. He was at his job at the time. With her, she wasn't there, but she still represents
that organization. That organization.
And so it just has me in this place of I'm feeling some of all this stuff going on has me feeling some kind of way. So that's one reason I've been real, real quiet lately online, because there's been a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes.
Because she ain't quiet about it. I'm just saying, she is not going
I just dropped the article in chat,
Yeah.
in the video.
Excellent. Okay.
I was asked a question by my leader, about a year ago about how I was feeling when everything happened with the George Floyd situation. And I shared that article with my colleagues. And the title of the article is Dear White Colleagues, what is it? Dear White Colleagues, I am not okay.
Right. Neither am I.
Your Black colleagues may look like they are okay, chances are they are not. And that's really all I can do was send them the article. Like, I don't.
And what did we just say about her job?
Mm-hmm.
They just rang her bell. So, it is what it so, and it's kind of like what we're just talking about. No, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I'm not okay.
Yeah.
But that smile that you've got on your face. Yeah. It's like you get to the point where they start to hurt, because it's like, even when you exhale, it's like you maintain
that smile.
that those cheeks are where they need to be, because it's like, if I relax myself and I divert my eyes a lot, because my eyes speak even when my mouth doesn't.
Yeah.
My face tells you exactly what I'm feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's a situation where we try to do all that we need to be, but people, they just don't get it. They don't get it. But I'm going to hit these last points, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up. It says supporting Black women and men when violence against Black people is in the news. For a workplace to feel inclusive, it is critical that all employees demonstrate awareness of events such as police brutality that disproportionately impacts the Black community.
Yeah.
Here are some ways companies can support Black employees when these events are in the news. Now I'm going to maximize it. So it says, make sure Black employees have a space to process their understandable rage and grief. Remind non-Black colleagues that everyone responds to acts of violence differently. Their Black colleagues may be grieving, upset, or distracted, and they may or may not want to talk about what happened. All of those reactions need to be respected. Managers should ask Black team members what they need to feel supported. Some Black employees may appreciate work. Make sure Black employees, but others may prefer to stay occupied with work. Okay, I just turned around and went and read. Look, I'm so aggravated right now. Let me reread that. Some Black employees may appreciate the option to reschedule meetings, move deadlines, or take time off, but others may prefer to stay occupied with work. See, I'm telling y'all, my brain is all over the place. Make sure Black employees have the agency to choose what feels best for them. And then senior leaders should consider sending a company-wide email that links to unbiased information about what happened. Remind Black employees of support resources available to them and suggests actions such as donating to anti-racist organizations that colleagues can take to show support. Now, I want to actually hit that. I want to hit that because for so many, thank you for supporting, Annette. We appreciate you. I actually want to hit that because I had someone when things were going on in another situation that was like, why are they just throwing money? I said, for white people, that's how they show support. When something is going on, first thing they're going to do is give you some money. They may not know how to verbalize, but they feel that giving money is showing you, or giving you, making that potato salad with raisins.
The money part kind of reminds me, as you just went through those 3 bullet points, of course, I always want to add a fourth, and it's a common theme about the one that I want to add, that all of these resources and these articles are missing. It needs to be genuine intention. Right. The intention needs to be genuine.
Right.
Don't send a company-wide email about George Floyd 3 weeks after it happened.
That part. Address it. And address
immediately.
It head on. Right. Yeah. Address it head on.
I think a lot of companies try to do those things, but the intention isn't genuine, so it adds insult to injury.
I would say, and we know when it's authentic and when it isn't.
Yeah.
And Miss Denise Woodson has said, yes, I am currently quote unquote disabled due to corporate trauma. It was my first in my state and most killed me to prove, and even after all anyone could do was write a check, which, trust me, gives nothing back in terms of repairing
of the psyche.
It says, do you have a call-in number? You know what? I don't have that one with me at the time. I am so sorry. I tell you what, are you willing to answer this real quick? Are you willing to come on and just not active? She can always deactivate her camera and her audio I can run your audio through. Are you willing to do that, Miss Shanice? Because I definitely forgot to bring the phone up here. My apologies. That is definitely on me. We have one, but okay. Does she have the number already?
Molly, call my phone. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have a new number. I'm texting you the number right now.
And then that way. But as you were saying, Rod, it's truly, when it's disingenuous, I'm one of those, if you don't mean it, keep it.
Right.
Yeah.
If you don't mean it, don't say it.
Yeah.
That's just like, that's just one of those that's just one of those things where she's wanting to add to I guess what you were saying, what we were just talking about with kicking the money out. And for corporations to do that, it kind of, now this is talking. This is strictly my opinion. While the money is appreciated by, I'm sure, a lot of people, I would rather you show me you appreciate me every day than by simply throwing a check out there when something happens.
Yeah.
If I'm that valuable to you, show me in my salary, show me with my bonuses, show me with, other, give me
show me with respect.
With the
yes, that one.
You don't even have to show me with the money. Show me with respect. I don't care about the money. Show me with respect.
Hey, lady.
That's priceless.
Okay, she's getting ready to put it. She's getting ready to go on speaker.
Yes, it did. So hold on for just a second, because I'm gonna put you on speaker. Hold on.
The one time I don't bring the phone.
That's okay.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
Are you able to hear her?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear y'all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, I don't really know how I came across y'all today. I was literally just like stalking through one of my kids' Facebook pages because I don't have one. And this conversation is so important that I just felt like I needed to call and tell y'all thank y'all. Mm-hmm. Because it's been a long time, and for a long time, nobody has wanted to have this discussion. And I am literally, I don't want to tell too much of my business, but I'm literally disabled by the state that I live in. Mm-hmm. And the way that I became disabled, it almost killed me to prove. Like, I've been through, I can't even tell you how many psychologists, therapists, psychiatrists, that to this day, my records are sealed. I'm literally in federal court right now on a FOIA request trying to even just get the records back in case that there's anything else that has to be done so that I have the paperwork necessary to show how it came about, because my records are sealed. They won't even let me see what the doctors have said about me. But corporate trauma is absolutely very real. I don't know if anybody watched it, but everybody's been talking about it. So I kind of watched this little series on Amazon called Them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I seen everybody was, getting up. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, you know what? White folks going to be real mad when they see this. They're going to be up in arms. But what I noticed was it wasn't white people that got up in arms about it. It was Black people that got up in arms about it. So I was like, let me go check it out. So then when I went to check it out, it literally I understood why Black people are in arms. It's the same reason why I won't deal with Black therapists anymore. When I first started to realize something was going on with me trying to go to these jobs, and it's one thing being a Black woman, especially if you're darker skinned, just going through the societal things that happen to you, the way the teachers treat your children, the way they treat you, the looks that you get at grocery stores, or when you're having to go to certain events with your children, just those things of just being a woman and being out here in children in a society that does not reflect you and yours. That's one particular type of trauma. But then after, like the 60s, 70s, when Black women started going to work, we added an extra trauma. See, Black men didn't go home and start dealing with the children in the home front and that level of societal issues. They stayed at work for the most part, or they just disappeared into the streets. Women had to take that from both ends. You had to be at home and constantly be on your P's and Q's, trying to protect your children from the police, dealing with these teachers, dealing with anybody of any sort of authority that doesn't look like you, or even some that do look like you, but just don't think like you. And then turning around and having to then engage with, keep it 100, if you're going into corporate America, white men. Not only do you have to deal with the white men that are in corporate America that already don't want you there because you're a woman, and then twice as much don't want you there because you're Black, you have to deal with the white women that they put in front of you to make sure that you stay in your place. And please believe she's getting put in her place behind closed doors. What I'm starting to notice about this entire paradigm and the way things that are set up, it's a different level of disrespect when you're in a place. And like I said, I noticed it a lot in that movie, but they kind of put it mostly on the Black man of it being different. If you're at home and somebody comes to your home, yeah, it's different if the police show up, but there's a certain level of respect that you can get just from being able to physically protect yourself. They stick you in those walls with those standard operating procedures and all these fake laws and fake rules that allow them to do things to you and say things to you and treat you in ways that they would never in a million years, even with things being stacked in their favor on the street, would not try you in that way. And it gives you a certain level of, it's a level of rage. Like I said, my final straw was when my intellectual property was stolen from me. Like, you literally stole it. And they do these things so egregiously to us because they think that, first of all, we don't know how to fight back, that the worst that we're going to be able to do is cuss them out. At the very worst, fight them, in which case they just lock us up and we lose anyway. Or you're going to go ahead and you're going to take it, and they'll just continue to take from you until they're done using you, and then they can get rid of you. Or they just have you keep on creating in that same space that you're in and continue to steal from your work. Once they take it the first time and they realize that you're okay with it, because that's what school's supposed to train you for. It's supposed to train you for the workforce and how to have things taken from you and be told what to do with your creativity and with your intelligence and with your light and with your magic. So if they realize that you have it, but they can't control it, then they have to destroy it. Now it goes from you're one of the best employees to you have an attitude problem. Every time I open my mouth, knowing that I have to take it down 9 octaves, knowing that this girl's sitting right next to me, but because she does not look like me, she's allowed to speak how she wants to, and it'll be called passionate. It's those differences. It's the differences of things with women, just as a dress code of what I can wear to work versus what somebody else can wear to work. It's those little psychological things that happen to you that, in the people that are doing it to you's mind, they're thinking this is the way that it's supposed to be, and you don't have any choice but to be okay with this, so they can go ahead and try it, because history has shown them that really ain't too much you can do about it. And if you try to do something about it, well, we know what to do about that too. They know that it's like them testing your level of brokenness. It's like the level of respect they think you have depends on the level of disrespect that you're willing to take from them. And we pass that on in our households and to our kids and whatnot. It's all just, it's all psychological. It's really, really, really messed up. And I just couldn't take it after a while. And so I called to try and get help. And I was like, let me just go to therapy. You know what I mean? Because it was to the point where every time I seen people of a certain persuasion, it was literally making me break out into cold sweats. Like I would stutter and I could literally feel my blood pressure going up. I would be sick for an hour before I went to work. Then for an hour after I got home, trying to just come down from the trauma of being passed over, looked over. And it's not like it's ever anything completely overt. They just do things and they know that they know, and they know. That's the problem, is that it's so unspoken. But if you open your mouth and you say anything, you're immediately a problem. Everybody will know there's a problem, but it's not knowing there's a problem. It's if you open your mouth and you say that there's a problem. This shit was built on a problem. It's all a problem. But if you open your mouth and you mention the problem, then it's an even bigger issue. And what I learned trying to get myself to therapy and trying to wrap my mind around some of these things and get myself into a better place, I specifically asked for a Black female therapist at first. I said, please give me a Black woman. Only another Black woman is going to understand the level of trauma, the level of rage, the level of self-hatred that I am fighting, the level of outward hatred that I am fighting. Give me one of those. And what I came to notice is, as I came across those Black women, they were just as broken. It didn't matter that they were sitting in that seat. It didn't matter that you went to school and that you got a degree and that you fought your way up through these. None of that mattered. My brokenness is a reflection of your brokenness. It doesn't matter what you tried to hide it behind, whether it was that degree, your religion, your money, that man. It does not matter. I come and trigger that broken place in you, because even in this place where you sit looking down on me to write notes, you know damn good and well you're experiencing what a woman with a GED experiences at her job. You're not any better than me. And you can't prove to me that you are. There is no proof that you are. And that breaks Black women. So after being thrown out of Black women's office about 4 or 5 times, I eventually went through it to a woman. So I said, give me a white man, but I can't get one of them either. But I just think the conversation that you are having is so important, because Black women are left to lead these households a lot of times. And I'm not putting anything on Black men. I'm done talking about them and what they do and what they don't do. I can only speak from my own experience. And we are being left broken. And we are trying to go to work, and we go to corporate America because that is where the money supposedly is. That is where we're going to be able to take better care of our children. But the level of psychological warfare that you have to be prepared to, because you have to understand, they have built this entire country and everything that they do on corporations, on owning everything, on them only being in certain positions. So you're damn right. It's a different thing when you want to go work in their factories and break your back for them. It's something different when they find out that you have a mind. That is a problem for them, no matter where you're at. And the moment you let them feel like they don't have complete control over your mind, it's going to be a problem for you. So where does that leave you when your whole life you're taught that, well, I'm supposed to be twice as good, right? That's what they told me because of what I look like. I'm supposed to be twice as good, twice as smart. And they say, yeah, you better be. But then when you do, they're like, well, how dare you? So where does that leave people? Where does that leave a human being that is literally just out here trying to do exactly what you said for them to do? A lot of these women are walking in the shoes of the men that left them behind, trying to do it all. And then you're going into these places, like I said, where every day you're being undermined, not just telling you. And it's not just the corporateness of it all, of you can only wear this, you can only do that. It's the knowing that when I go in here, this woman can say some outlandishly disrespectful things to me, and because it's veiled as constructive criticism, or what do they like to have those?
Hey, Miss Shanice,
moments and things are that they like to give you, where they like to tell you about the tone of your voice and that 2 minute, like it's that kind of thing. And yeah, they may hear me consecutively to everybody, but they specifically want to break you if you look a certain way. It's that how dare you. But in order to be in corporate America, that's what they tell you you're supposed to be. Right. But then when I get here, it's how dare you.
Right. And we appreciate, oh my goodness, you have just gone in and just broken it all the way down. And we appreciate that. And what we're going to do at this point in time, because she has summed everything
she
up
did,
so
though.
well. No. You have just summed up the show perfectly. And that is
everything we were talking about. Yep.
That is the perfect segue for us to actually ease out of this thing called life for this particular session.
I just thank y'all so much, because I told them in therapy, I kept telling them, I may be some of the first, but I'm not the last or the only. I'm literally
right.
I'm coming to tell you, it's going to be a lot of us pretty soon. You're not going to know what to do.
All right. Well, thank you so. All right. Well, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate you.
Thank y'all for letting me get that off my chest. Hey, Miss Echo, I'll talk to you soon too.
Yes. Okay. So you got the new number now. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rozlyn, for joining us today on today's segment. We appreciate you, girl.
Thank you, ladies.
I mean, everything you talked about, and then to have this young lady call in and sum it all up was perfect.
Thank you, ladies, for having me again.
That are here. We will see you next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, on this thing called Life. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.